Oh, okay, we are live. Uh, Good evening or good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alberto from the Unstoppable Creator, and today with me there's Robin Wilding, who is a writer that I knew when I virtually met on Medium when I commented on her articles for a long time. Then I stopped reading and writing on Medium, but I found her also on Substack. And today she will talk about her creative processes, her creative challenges. She writes as a freelancer and she writes on Medium and she writes on Substack. So I think we'll learn a lot from her. So, first of all, welcome, Robin, and thank you for being here. And just give us some information on what you do as a writer.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, Alberto. I've been a writer for closing in on 2 decades. For the first part, up until the last couple of years, I was always writing freelance for clients, so client work, and the topics ranged from corporate speak, manuals and such, to public facing blog posts, white papers, that
Hmm.
sort of thing. And then about 2.5 years ago, I decided I wanted to start writing for me, writing what I wanted. And I went on Medium, and I did quite well on Medium for quite a while. The last little bit has been iffy, but that's kind of how that's going right now. I moved to Substack at the end of July, beginning of August last year, and it's been really cool. And for the last little bit, I've been able to write humor, which is something that means a lot to me. I have chronic illnesses. One of them is one of the few of them is called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it means chronic pain and chronic fatigue, amongst other problems. And when I was kind of dealing with that, I really dove into humor, especially stand up comedy, and that really helped me from going into a kind of sad, depressive state. And that's when I decided I really wanted to make humor what I do
Ah,
because it
right.
meant so much to me. And that's when I started writing humor. And it took me a little while to get the hang of it, but I think I'm doing pretty well now.
Yeah, but so you switched maybe. I don't know if it's the right word. You switched to humor after starting writing for yourself,
Yes.
starting on Medium. Ah, okay, because you were the I from the beginning I saw some jokes inside your articles, but they were not humor articles. They were maybe articles about medium or writing or other topics. So I thought humor was part of your writing from the beginning, but it was a more intentional
Yeah.
transformation. Ah,
Yeah.
great.
I wasn't sure that I was going to do humor when I started writing on Medium. I tried out a couple of things to see what audiences would like the best, and humor was what really attracted people, and that made me super happy, and that's why I went with that. But no, I'd never written it before.
So I will. I think the best way to start is to focus on humor. For me, it's a weird niche. I never wrote about humor. I like comedy, but yeah, it's not something I never practiced it. So I can't even imagine how do you start writing a humor article. So I know I read about maybe the very famous comedians writing a joke every day or um, uh, trying your jokes in front of a small audience, but they are live comedians. It's not like writing. So I'm really curious. How do you get ideas for your humor pieces? How do you because yeah, everyone can have a successful joke at a dinner party, I don't know, but thinking about a piece and then evolving it. But first of all, how do you get ideas for your humor pieces?
Well, I'm really lucky because I'm a full-time writer. It's my only job.
Yeah,
Substack is my only job, but writing's my only job. So
yeah,
I literally spend all day, every day, pretty much thinking about writing. Like I don't shut off,
yeah.
after five
It's your
o'clock.
life.
So I'm always on the lookout for new ideas. And I kind of took one approach that's been working well for me. Like when I read something, whether it's on Substack or Medium or wherever, and I think of something and I want to make a long comment, I'll I'll probably still make the comment, but then I'll often turn it into a piece.
Yeah,
Or if I see something on TikTok or on Netflix, sometimes even just one sentence can make me think of an idea. And I'm like, that's funny. I should do that. So it's just constantly being on the lookout for new ideas. And the list of ideas is probably this long. What actually gets written is this long, and then
of
what
course.
actually gets published is this big. So
Okay,
it's like a
okay.
funnel.
But for you, it's the same. You have serious and serious ideas and humor, let's call them humor ideas at the same time. I mean, you read and just come up with ideas.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, but how do you? I think that when to me that happens for my topics, my Italian YouTube channel and my Substack application, uh, and the ideas come from the fact that I constantly think about my content and I consume content related to that niche. So,
Yeah.
do you consume? Do you read other humor writers?
Yeah, absolutely. I read tons of humor writers. It's not all I read, but
Yeah.
I do read a lot of them, especially on here on Substack and on Medium. Um, but then I do read non humorous stuff too, and I tend to prefer sort of nonfiction, real life stuff. And sometimes my
Hmm.
humor content can come from something that someone wrote that was serious. But as
Okay.
I read it, I'm thinking of what my sassy pants answer would be to it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And in a way, I suppose you also practice it in in your daily life. I mean, I don't know, on Discord or with friends. It's a habit of yours in general.
Yeah, I've always used humor. I think it's a really powerful life skill.
Okay.
It it ingre- it ingratiates you with new people that you meet. It puts people at ease. It can help get your point across. Um, there's a line from the movie and the book Mary Poppins. Um, it's a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So I find humor to be a very powerful tool, and it's served me well all of my life. So I do use it, although some might say I use it as a coping mechanism. But hey, whatever coping
Of course.
mechanism you use that works, works.
I know what works. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Uh, unless you use it to totally escape from life. But yeah, we need coping.
Yeah.
Okay. No, no, it's not a problem. Uh, so you write in for your clients. You write on Substack. You write on Medium. How much do you write every week? How many articles? Or I don't know how you can quantify it.
Um, yeah. So I used to do a lot more client work than I do now.
Ah,
Now, Substack and Medium has been taking more and more of my time, um, which is actually really good because client work has gone down a little bit. And
mhm.
as a freelancer and as sort of like a solopreneur, I've heard you say in some of your other videos, um, you constantly have to feed that business. Clients come and
Yeah,
go. Like even if you do a good job, clients come and go. Businesses shut
yeah.
down. People change things. I've had several offers where they want to turn me into an in-house writer. They want me to go full time, but I don't really want to do that. But I'll lose a client doing that. So if you're not constantly looking for new jobs in this business, your funnel and your sales will dry up. So I haven't
Yeah.
been doing that as much. So the freelance writing has been going down, which is fine because it is my goal to become full time doing humor writing on
Yeah.
places like Substack
Ah,
and Medium. Um, but it also varies greatly. Like sometimes I'll have one project from a client that might just be one large piece, like a manual or something. That might
okay.
take me an entire week. So then I only did one piece of client work that week, but it was a lot. So it's really hard to say in terms of the writing for here on Substack. I try
Yeah.
to do a post every other day. Um,
Okay. Ah,
yeah.
it's very free. But do you publish long form pieces on Substack, right?
So a lot of them are long form. I do some short ones sometimes, and sometimes if I have a short one that I just write really quick, I might
Mm,
publish every day. So it might have been a long form, a quick one, and then a
okay.
long form.
Okay.
I know everyone says on here that you're supposed to like stick to a stick to a schedule, but I'm kind of more chaotic than that, and I just when something comes to me, I do it. Um, and I found that's working quite well. So, as for the advice about you have to stick to a schedule, I don't know. I think people on here are pretty forgiving if you miss a day or if you do a little bit extra sometimes and do a little bit less other times.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not pretty
Yeah.
cool about it.
The thing is that when you're starting out, you want to know, you want to have every answer, first of all, but then you at least you need to know the have an idea of what works to
Yeah.
to decide how to use your time and but yeah I think first of all, you don't have to disappear, so you don't have to stop publishing for a month. It's
Yeah.
harder to get in the regain the attention. I think if you disappear totally,
Yeah.
it completely disappears. And on the other hand, if you publish too much and you're too frequently and your articles aren't effective, let's use this term. After a while, people get bored. So yeah, it's also how do you write? I think you told me in our via DM that you are a bit chaotic. You already mentioned it. So how does um, how do you go from idea to published article?
Yeah. I've been asked that a fair bit, and I think sometimes people don't like this answer, but it's very varied. Sometimes I'll think of an idea and I'll get right on my computer and start typing it,
All
and it'll
right.
be done in an
Yeah.
hour, and it just comes out stream of consciousness. But then sometimes I'll come up with an idea and I'll work on bits and pieces for days, sometimes weeks, up to a month. Um, I think for some of my longer form ones that are a lot more intricate, and especially the ones that have a high JPM, a high joke per minute. Um,
Okay, JPM.
if you have a lot of back to back to back jokes, that takes
Yeah.
time. So I need more time to sort of marinate on that. So those pieces can generally take a week, not an entire week to write, but I have to keep going back to them to add funny ideas because it doesn't just come out of my brain that way. I wish it did. Um,
Mm, interesting. But
yeah.
how do you decide the right JPM for a piece? Forgive me, but I'm really ignorant in this field. So, what tells you that you have to add more jokes, for example, in an article?
Um, when I edit it, and I generally edit things at least twice, if I
Okay.
find myself getting bored reading it, it should
Ah,
be
okay.
interesting to me.
Okay.
If it's not
Okay.
interesting to me and I'm the one who feels passionately about this topic, it's not going to be
Yeah.
interesting to somebody else. So I'll just keep adding. But generally, I try to add as many as I can because with jokes, one person might get one joke, one person might get another joke.
Right.
Nobody, nobody's going to get all of the jokes. Well,
Yeah.
some people, if if they share the exact same sense of humor. But so the more jokes I put in, the more chances those jokes have of landing with the people. So I do try to put in as many as I can think of.
Okay. Uh, you said an interesting thing. You said that basically you use your own taste to decide if the article needs more jokes or, in general, more editing. And do you find that your feelings are correspond to the success and to the response from the audience to your
Never.
article? Never. Ah, okay.
Well,
This is
not
so discouraging. Okay.
well. I guess never say never.
Yeah.
But often the pieces that I think are the funniest don't
Yeah.
do the best, and then the piece that I think, okay, this isn't my best, this isn't my funniest work, do really well with the audience. So I've kind of stopped trying to decide what the audience will like, and just let them decide. And I just try to keep enough variance that everybody
Hmm.
can find something that they like.
Okay. Okay. Within a single article. So
Well, within a single article, but also within a week. So I try not to write
yeah.
on the same topic back to
Hmm.
back. I try to vary it. So sometimes I write funny poetry. Sometimes I write about Canada. I've been doing that a lot lately, and I'm kind of
About Canada.
worried that at some point people are going to say, "Okay, okay, enough about Canada." But so far, people haven't done that. um, Sometimes I write about just a funny concept. So I try not to make the pieces too similar, too close
Yeah.
together, so that
Yeah.
nobody gets
It's
bored.
it's it's kind of an experimental approach. I think that works for many people, varying the topics or maybe the style or the format, the length. So you learn what works best. Or in your case, as you're saying, the audience doesn't get bored. Yeah. um,
Although I think the approach might be more, and you might kill me for this as an Italian, but there's an approach they call the spaghetti wall approach,
yeah,
because
I know.
somebody said if you throw spaghetti at the wall, when it sticks, you know that it's done.
Absolutely.
So some people just try that approach. You throw a lot of stuff at the wall and you see what works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, this the difficulty to predict uh, the performance of a piece is really widespread. I constantly read from and hear from many established writers that they still can't predict when a piece will go viral or will get a lot of likes.
Yeah.
So why do you think that that is?
I don't know. I mean, I think the formula for going viral is like you take the square root of what women want and you divide it by pi.
Yeah,
If if there is a formula, I don't think anybody's ever hacked it, despite the fact that everyone says I've hacked the viral
absolutely.
formula.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think humans are just too unpredictable
Mm,
to decide what to decide that for sure people are going to like this.
yeah. Uh, Yeah, and there's also the factor the time. Time is an important variable we always fail to grasp because things change in society or on platforms, and so what worked a month ago won't work today. Yeah,
Yeah.
but for a beginner writer, this is always a little discouraging or even frightening because yeah, you think you hope you will overcome the fears you have in the beginning.
Yeah. So I've worked with a lot of new writers.
Yeah,
When I came to Medium before
yeah,
Substack, I found it really interesting that people were interested in my knowledge as a writer who's been around a while. This has never been interesting to anybody else in the history of my career. Um,
okay,
Nobody else wants to know anything about it. So it was really cool to have people to share some of the things I've learned with. And one of the common things that I tell all these new writers that I work with, and I'm also a nominator on Medium, and
yeah,
every nominator has like a niche, but my niche is new writers. Um, One of the most common conversations I have is when people say, should I pick a niche and what should it be? What should I write about? And I say, when you're new, first of all, really enjoy the process, because the most exciting part of the entire process is the beginning. Like that's the funnest time for me. That's why I've been enjoying myself so much on Substack, because I'm still new here and it's really exciting and you're getting that initial growth. And but what I tell people is that if you don't have a burning passion of a topic in you, that you're that you're like, I absolutely have to write about this,
yeah,
then just use the spaghetti at the wall approach, putting out different things that you like, and then find what the audience is most attracted to. And if you imagine it like a Venn diagram, where
absolutely,
it
yeah,
overlaps, that middle part, that middle part is in the overlap between what you like and what your audience likes, is where you should really focus on. So kind of let the audience help decide with you, but make sure it's something that you're passionate about as well. And I find
hmm,
when people do that, they see some success, which gets them more excited, but they're still writing about something that they enjoy and they're getting the feedback and it's resonating with the readers, which I think is the best spot to be in as a writer, to do something that
yeah,
you're passionate about, but that your readers also love. And that's the advice I give new writers.
yeah. And this makes me think of the problem of the niche, the usual problem of choosing a niche.
Yeah.
And I, if you follow the this recommendation, maybe you end up with a uh, clearly defined niche, which is not which doesn't correspond to a single topic, maybe, but it is a set
Broad.
of topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but on Medium, it's easier maybe to write about many different topics and still get um, um, good feedback from the audience, thanks to the algorithm, basically, because it it yeah it's based on the single article, not on the entire archive of the writer. But on other platforms like Substack, for example, not thinking about notes, but only about the articles on Substack, would you still recommend to start writing about anything until something works? Would you still recommend the spaghetti technique?
um, I don't want to sound like an asshat trying to give Substack advice, because I've
No,
only
no,
been
of
here
course.
not that long. But I think, based on my very limited experience here, one of the mistakes writers make who are coming from Medium to Substack is exactly what you said. That was such a good point, that on Medium, you can kind of spray the topics and see what
Yeah,
sticks, and some are going to do well. But on Substack, I think people are like, Substack is all about these quirky niches, these really interesting parts of,
yeah,
what make you you. But I don't think Substack is a great place to capture an audience who want to read about your dog, and then astrology, and then productivity tips, and then crypto advice. Like, you need to have something as your umbrella, even if it's not a defined niche, like you said. So I think that was a really great point, and I see that all the time. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake medium writers coming to Substack try to do.
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard. But at the same time, you can maybe try on Substack. I mean, you can try a few different related topics and go broader in the beginning. But yeah, maybe not humor together with productivity, for example, unless it's humor about productivity, of course. Yeah.
I am so unproductive. I wouldn't even try to write productivity.
Right. So, thanks to everyone who's listening and who's joined us. We have, I think, 20 minutes more with Robin. So if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll reply. And talking about Substack, um, short form content, which means notes on Substack, plays a role in many writer careers nowadays. There was LinkedIn, there was X. Now there's also Substack Notes. You use notes regularly, right?
I
And
do.
how do you approach?
Spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out Substack notes, and I have no
Okay.
idea why some go viral and others don't. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, I'm still using the spaghetti at the wall approach. Hopefully, I'll find something that works better than that. But until then, yeah, that's what I got.
So, but anyway, uh, what makes you want to publish a note, or makes you think, okay, I will, uh, or better, do you, first of all, do you publish what comes to mind on notes, or do you maybe reuse bits from your articles?
I should use bits from my articles, but I always forget. My brain can be a little scatterbrain sometimes. I'm not, and I'm not very organized with my notes, but I kind of look at them like there are funny things I come across and funny things I think of that are just one little snippet and they're never going to make for a full article, but it doesn't mean they have to go to
Mm,
waste. So I like notes because it means I can still get that joke or that funny thing I
yeah,
saw there without without having to turn it into a whole article. And then sometimes what I'll do is if I see a note was really successful and got a lot of comments and engagements and people liked it, um, I'll go back to the notes and take the most successful ones and turn those into articles
yeah.
because people have shown that they're interested in that topic
Yeah,
or
this is a wise approach. So, did it work for you? You published something on a notes and then expanded it, and it resonated. The article resonated.
yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
worked and it's not worked because
Yeah,
again you never
yeah.
know.
Randomness. Yeah, yeah. You publish a lot. Do you think that? Uh, do you publish a lot just because you want to, or do you believe that always talking about the spaghetti technique? Do you think that it's useful to publish more?
Yeah, I think it is useful. When I first came to Substack, all the advice I read was that your audience doesn't want notifications from you every day, multiple times a
Yeah,
day. But and that seemed to be the standard advice that was going around. But in my experience, it's the opposite. The audience is when you build a really core group of audience. They do want to hear more from you. Like our buddy Jason, Jason.
yeah.
He posts
Right. Okay.
three, sometimes
An
four,
ungodly amount. Yeah.
yeah, three, sometimes four times a day, and that includes articles, podcast, Substack lives, all of these different things. And his audience is still there wanting more. So I think more is better, and it does seem publishing more does seem to tickle the algorithm's balls better than publishing less.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, regardless of the platform, regardless of what the CEO says, in some way, the algorithm always rewards quantity. Uh, what you first on Medium, but also on Substack, you built, you found your true fans. I think there are people who want to hear from you. What do you think resonates with them?
Um, I think just being blunt seems to really resonate with people. Like to be more real and not filter yourself and think like, oh, I shouldn't write that or I shouldn't say that. Um, just say it. You be. I think people are amazed how often if you write something that you think I shouldn't write that, that's the part that people
Mhm.
often like the most. So I think that's
Yeah.
one thing that people like about me because I am kind of blunt. Um, one 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 person described my style as autistic level honesty,
No, okay. Yeah.
which which which, which I think is one of the funniest comments I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a very strange compliment, but yeah, um, there is a widespread need for authenticity. Yeah, it's true. Especially it was true before AI, but now it's even stronger. I think.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Yeah, we will have sooner or later. We will have some kind of certificate written by humans or something like that, because it will become very, very hard to distinguish AI content from human written content. And talking of speaking of AI, do you use AI in your process at all?
not at all.
No.
I don't. I keep meaning to try to get that AI assistant thing going where like it can I don't know I don't even know what it does, but like it can schedule things for you and it can
Ah, okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
like not
another
not
thing.
write
Yeah,
for you or not research for
yeah.
you, but it can help with other parts of your day. Um, but I'm just resistant to using it. Um, I don't know why. Well, I know why because it's going to
Okay.
take my job one day and I don't want to help
Yeah. It's a common fear. Yeah. Yeah. It's yet to be. Yeah, probably some things like manuals probably will be written by AI. I think so, but I don't think it will happen for um, Substack publications in weird niches. Yeah, personal essays, of course, because they wouldn't be personal.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think I think there's a couple different types of writers that will survive AI. So far, humor writers are doing pretty well because AI just can't quite get humor right. They might in the future. I don't know.
yeah.
Um, but writers who are showing expertise in their niche, like if you're a veterinarian specializing in the care of older dogs, and you're constantly trying out new things, new formulas, and whatever, that's always going to be valuable because AI can't come up with these things itself.
Hmm.
So when you have that sort of knowledge that you're bringing to the table, I think AI can't replicate it until that knowledge is more widely known,
Yeah.
um, or or at least it can't replicate it and be correct. It can replicate a lot of lies and bullshit, but it can't replicate that type of in-depth knowledge and be on the cutting edge of it so far. Again, all
Yeah.
of these things could change, but
And there's another thing for me. Even when e- even maybe AI can become able to replicate everything, but I think that people will still want to be sure that there's a human behind some pieces of content, and not everything. Maybe not a dry tutorial on how to use a piece of software, maybe, but. we listen to music or read fiction and non-fiction often because we want, we know who is behind that piece of content. And yeah, it doesn't hold for every piece of content, but in some areas, for some in some on some topic or in some genres, maybe it will still be true, even
Yeah,
when AI will be general AI, artificial general intelligence, AGI, they call it.
yeah. I think I think for now that's a good one, but I think we're going to see increasing challenges even in proving authenticity because there's already
Hmm.
AI creators. Like for example, there's actually
Yeah,
one famous in Italy who's an AI generated TikToker, and
I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
it's random, but there's a few of them all over the world, and these are completely AI generated content creators.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only reason that somebody found out that this, for example, Italian one wasn't a real person was because they tried to book them for an in person event,
Okay.
and AI can't attend an in person event. But if you're only doing things online, like so so far AI video is harder to replicate, but
Hmm.
that's going to be quick. I mean, that's only a few years away when that's just at the
I
click of a
think
button
so.
too. Already they can do podcasts where you just put an article into
Hmm.
AI and it'll generate this podcast of people talking about the article.
Yeah,
It's
Notebook
kind of crazy.
LM does it with yeah, almost instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. It, it
Yeah, that's
it's a
why I
weird.
think we will have some kind of certification, maybe combined with blockchain or some other technology.
Oh, oh yeah, interesting.
It could be, it could work. It could work. Uh, what are your, no, I had another question uh, before. Do you have a long experience as a writer, and do you still feel the usual writer fears? I don't know, the imposter syndrome, or perfectionism that keeps you editing a piece when you have spent hours on it. Do you still feel them
Yep,
every day? Yeah.
yep. I feel I feel perfectionism. I feel imposter syndrome. I feel that nothing's quite good enough. I don't know if those feelings ever go away, but I think there are tools you can use to feel better
Yeah.
about that. For example, perfectionism. Sometimes I feel a piece isn't any good, and I've been working really hard on it, and I'll need an outside perspective. So I have a number of writer friends. I'll send the piece to them and say like, "Hey,
Ah.
is this crap?" And they know me. They can say, "Yeah, it's crap," and I'll be like, "Damn it, I knew it." Uh, but often they'll say, "No, it's brilliant. Publish it, you idiot." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and then I'll publish it,
Nice.
and it'll be fine, and people like it. And it was only my problem thinking that it wasn't good enough.
Of course.
Um, I'd say I think the only thing of those typical writer problems that I've gotten over is sensitivity. Um,
Two comments.
to comments, to editing, especially to rejections. Like if you're
Ah,
submitting
okay.
work to outside publications, asking them to publish it. Um, Now rejections just cool next. Um, and if somebody doesn't like something, I don't care. I think
Okay.
when you're a writer for so long, you develop this thick skin, and
Yeah,
you just don't have feelings anymore about it. You're just like,
I think
hey,
so. I think so.
I've described it as death by a thousand paper cuts, where you've
Yeah.
heard so much rejection, so many like, cut this, it's crap, cut this, it's you've seen so much red
But
on the
it's your
page that looks like
sensitivity that
blood.
that
You get that so much that eventually it just doesn't bother you anymore. I think that's the
I think
one thing as a writer I've been able to conquer. But all those other ones, yeah, they still bug me on a
so.
daily basis.
So, what do you think enables you, pushes you to publish, even though you still feel all the all the creative fears?
I would say because my landlord still refuses to be paid in effort.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you, sometimes when you start, you always are a part-time creator because you have a job or another business, and so it can become an excuse because you don't have to earn money from your side hustle. But when you have when you don't have a plan B, yeah, it's a good motivation. Yeah,
My
yeah.
my plan B is only feet.
So we have just a few minutes. So for everyone who has a question, just put it in the chat as soon as you can. Um, and there were some messages, but they were just confirming and supporting what you
Yeah,
said.
I,
Um,
I read all of those.
I was thinking, yeah, about monetization. Since you touched on that subject, um, how are you? Medium monetization on Medium is easy, and it's also very hard because you can't do anything. You just publish.
Yeah.
Um, on Substack, how do you approach monetization?
Um, for me, I think my success, and I think the success of some of the other people that I've seen, is in asking for the business, asking for the support. Um,
Hmm.
if you have regularly returning engaged readers, they might absolutely love to support you, but it's not at the top of their mind. It's at the top of your
Hmm.
mind, but they have their own life. You're not at the top of their mind, and they might fully well want to support you. But if you don't remind them by putting in a call to action, saying it, then they won't do it. And I'm reminded of this regularly. If I don't put a call to action um, at the end of my post,
Yeah,
nobody signs
no
up.
support. Okay.
Um, and when I put one at the bottom, but then also put one at the top saying, "Hey, there's going to be a reminder at the bottom," I get way more by doing that. But I try not to do it too often because I don't want to distract from the article itself. So I think it is
Hmm.
finding a fine balance. But yeah, I say you do need to ask for the business or at least remind people because
Yeah,
we're busy. We're not thinking about that, even if we
yeah.
even if we want to.
Because in your case, you're not paywall in your content, right? You're just asking
No,
for support.
yeah, I I don't want to paywall my content because, as I've learned, there's a lot of people like me who are in the chronic illness community, and
Oh,
when you're chronically sick, work is hard and it's very expensive to be sick.
yeah.
You've got medications, you've got like I've got a whole container of like different braces and support neck supports
Oh
and all
man.
these different things that I use. All of those are really expensive, so if they don't have a lot of money, I don't want to keep anybody from getting a laugh a day at my content just because they don't have any money. I'm not rich either, so I get it. I'm a writer, I'm not rich. So I want everybody to access it, but it is absolutely wonderful that so many people, even though they don't have to because they can access all my content for free. So many people, over 200 people now have supported me, even though they don't technically get anything extra for doing it. They're doing it just because they like me, they appreciate what
Yeah,
I.
yeah, yeah.
That's so cool about Substack.
Yeah, and it worked for Jason. It worked very well for Jason too.
Yep.
Incredibly well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on the niche because
Yeah.
it's harder when you teach something in the business or marketing niche. I think so. Uh, before leaving you, there was Emma was asking, what helped? what has helped you stay consistent besides your landlord? I add.
But sorry, but besides what?
Besides your landlord, as you were saying earlier.
Um, I've just been doing this so long that it's not difficult, and like
Hmm.
I think
And
when
in the
people
beginning, how do you became consistent?
um
How did you become? Yeah.
God, I had so many ways that I used to use to trick my brain into working.
Ah,
Um, I'd change rooms in the house
ah,
that I was in, and also if I couldn't get to writing, I would put my laptop on a counter, often in like the kitchen or something, so it's like a high counter, and write standing
yeah,
up. I
yeah,
think I think on my feet better than I do on my ass. Um,
yeah. Many
and then
people do. Yeah, yeah.
and then sometimes if I'm really stuck, I just make myself start writing something. It doesn't even matter what. I can start typing out what I'm listening to on TV for all that it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you
Mm-hmm.
write. It's just the action of getting words
Typing.
on a page. And then once you've gotten over that hump, then you start making words on a page that people would actually give a shit about.
Yeah, it's like the morning pages. I don't know if you ever used that technique, but it just means writing stream of consciousness every morning
Yeah.
and get things going. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's also Brandon that. Oh, sorry. Go
I'm
on.
not a
Go ahead.
morning person.
So no morning pages, maybe midday pages for you.
Yeah, there you go.
The one last question. Brandon was asking about
Hey, Brandon.
is worried about adding CTAs in the
Yeah,
middle of a piece.
yeah, I saw that one. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't like the look of them when I'm reading either. But as writers who are, um, as as a writer, I'll speak for myself, who's trying to make a living at this. You have to do what you have to do, and if people love you, they'll forgive it.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you, you do have to have the reminders in there. And if anybody really hates it that much, off they fuck because this is my livelihood. So if somebody really hated the call to action that I put at the bottom of a piece and said I'm going to stop reading if you keep doing
Yeah.
those,
And you
that's
can
my livelihood.
also
That's my business. They can fuck off.
and talking of blunt and there's also you can also choose your words, change your words. Not every call to action is the same. So maybe you can find a formula that's not annoying or that's even funny, maybe. Yeah.
And the autistic rebel said that when they're always the same, people
Ah,
tune them out,
of
and that's a really
course,
good
of
point too.
course, of course. Okay. Okay, thank you. I know you have another call, so I will let you free. And thank you for all the people who joined. A lot of people for my average.
Thanks
and uh,
everybody.
and thank you for the questions. We will have the recording posted tomorrow. And yeah, should they reach you here on Substack or on Medium? Where do they find you?
Um, well, I'm already here on Substack, and there's going to be a link right to my profile in the video, so you can just click on that
Exactly.
and find me from there.
Okay, thank you, Robin. It was very interesting and insightful. So have a good day, and we'll meet you again maybe on Substack.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Alberto. I know you stayed up late after a long day to film this, so it's really appreciated. And you had to do that in a second language, which I know
Yeah,
is incredibly difficult. So thank you so much for making this
yeah.
work.
Thank you for the patience as I chased my words. Okay, okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.